Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Thursday, May 27th, 2021. We are in the final hour of the trading day, which is my favorite time of the day to make my buying and selling decisions because at the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in, get to work, start taking the price control away from the day traders and the algorithms, and the prices that the large financial institutions move the price to at the end of the day, in my opinion, is the most valid price of the day to make your buying and selling decisions because they're dealing with the most money. They have the best information, the best technology, very, very smart people. And I want to make my decisions based upon what companies like that are doing, not intraday with the day traders and the algorithms. So, thank you all for coming today. I appreciate it. It's nice to see everyone. I appreciate you spending your time here, investing your time here, and I hope that you are learning some good trading principles by doing so. So currently, the Dow is up 103 points, up 0.3%. The NASDAQ is currently down 2.48 points, down 0.02, so almost unchanged. And the S&P 500 is up 3.45%. I'm sorry, 3.45 points, 0.08%. So here is the plan for today. First of all, we are going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we are going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. I do have quite a few positions. Did have some day trades today that I will share with you as well. Kind of a tough day trading, not big or bad losses or anything, but just didn't find much to day trade today. After that, we're going to go over and take a look at my students' positions. We're going to take a look at where you bought them, why you bought them, and we'll go through each one and see how those are doing. It's a bit of a mixed bag over there at the moment. After that, we're going to talk about trader psychology. Always like to touch on that every day. It is the most important skill in trading, managing your emotions. That's really it. You know, if somebody's new to trading, I wouldn't think that they would think that managing your emotions is that important. It's all about, hey, what charts do I use? And hey, what indicators do I use? And when do I buy? And when do I sell? Well, if you've been trading quite a long time, you'll realize that really those are important, but they are not the most important. The most important is to follow the trading plan that you designed. You can have the best trading plan in the world, but if you do not follow it, what good is it? You know what I mean? So I talk about that all the time, but we'll touch on trader psychology, and hopefully that will be helpful for you. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have gone down through the results of Kamal Scanner. I do have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a new trade. First, I need a confluence or a combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames. Secondly, I need a good risk to reward ratio of at least 2 to 1. Third, I need to have a full trading plan, a complete trading plan of knowing what I'm going to do, whatever the market does. I have no control over the market, either do you, but you should have a complete plan as far as what to do. If this happens, I'm going to do that. If that happens, I'm going to do this. And by the way, probably not a bad thing to have in your life as well. If this happens, I'm going to do that. If that happens, I'm going to do this. It's amazing how many principles of trading just cross over into life. In general. So as far as, what you're going to do, you need to look at market volatility. You need to look at the volatility. That will help you decide how many shares to buy. After you've decided how many shares to buy, where is your emergency stop? What's your maximum allowed loss? Where's your end of day stop? Where are your intraday profit targets? Where are your overhead resistance levels? Do you have a trailing stop plan in place so that if you have a profitable trade, you don't give it all back? These are all the things that we need to have in place, and hopefully, by watching this channel, you are starting to maybe kind of calibrate in, how I do all of these things. So, at the end of the day, as we get closer to the close, I will look for, I'll go through the candidates. We'll look on multiple time frames. We'll look for the risk to reward ratios. We'll also take into consideration the correlation of how many positions I have already. I may get rid of one to replace another, like I did yesterday with Apple. I got rid of Apple because I wanted to add something new. So, but I have a lot of positions here, so I have to keep that in mind, and I hope you keep that in mind as well. So if I find something makes sense, big picture, I will purchase it before the close of the market. After the market closes, if any of you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you need any clarification on anything, please let me know as well. I'm happy to clarify. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at before the close of the market, just go ahead, type them in the live stream, put an emoji by it so I know it's time sensitive. And then lastly, if any of my students have any new entries or exits today for me, if you could just please wait till the end of the day so that I'm done teaching, I'm done trading, pressure's off, and we'll spend as much time as we need to get everything updated. Okay, so I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, take a little drink of water while I'm doing that, and I'll see you back here in 40 seconds. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Let's see who's here today. Lova is here. Good to see you, Lova. Hey, I sent you an email. Hopefully you can look for that and reply to me, but I hope you're having a good day. Dan is here. Hi, Greg and everyone. Good to see you, Dan. Johnson is here. Hi, Greg and all. Hi, Johnson. Gary, good to see you, my friend. Good chatting with you earlier. Frank is here. Nice to see you, Mr. Frank. Always an honor and a privilege to have you here, Frank, and thank you so much for what you do for this channel every day. I really appreciate it, and I know everyone else does as well. David is here. Hi, Gregorian Traders. Good to see you, Mr. David. Hope you're doing well, my friend. All right, let's take a look at AEO. AEO, American Eagle Outfitters. False breakout, V1. I wouldn't call it a false breakout, although a V1 is a false breakout of the previous bar, but it's not a false breakout of the previous range, Lova, just to let you know about that. Yes, it is a V1 for sure. It's rejected the 50 RSI. I'm a little concerned about this big bar up here. I'm a little concerned about getting right there where from here to here is your reward section, from here to here would be your stop section. So I don't think the risk to reward makes sense on that. Only bad thing, it hasn't washed out the low. Oh, there you go, between the two highs. Yes, maybe enough reason to avoid it. Yes, I think definitely enough reason to avoid it. DBI. Return to value, sideways motion, V1. I don't see the V1. For a V1 level, we'd have to close above this close over here. It's a false breakout to the downside, yes, but is not a V1 to the upside. Does that make sense? We did wash out yesterday's low, but we're not closing above yesterday's close. So that one is not a V1. That bounced at the 50, it did, and rejected the 50 RSI, looks like. It didn't bounce at the 50 on mine. Weekly uptrend with the 5 EMA support. Yep, it is holding that 5 EMA for sure, but really there's no signal here in my opinion. Lova says, Greg, did you change your mind and buy Amgen last Thursday? It's under the impression that it lured you in with that V2 and broke through the 50 RSI. I did not buy Amgen. Amgen is one of those stocks that we do not have a good relationship together. Oh yeah, the false breakout in the V2. A little high to the 1 ATR channel, rejected everything, but no, I did not, and thankfully I did not, because it's up to its old tricks and tried to lure me in, and it did not get me this time. Gary says Dash has a 1030 crossover. Not sure if it backtests well. Too high for me and rejected the second ATR. Yeah, Dash doing pretty well today. I actually have that one. Well, we'll look at that in a minute. It is pretty high though. Like, yeah, it's at the second ATR channel. That's too high for me to buy. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you. Hi, Paxton. Good to see you. Hope you got my replies back. Hopefully that was helpful. Tracy says, hi, Greg and the Gosseteers. That always cracks me up. Johan, good to see you, Captain. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're out there flying safely, and appreciate you coming by and saying hi. Steve Burns is here. Hi, Steve. How you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate you being here today, as always. I appreciate what you do for this channel every day, and I know everyone else, I'm sure finds it a thrill to have you here in the chat. So thank you so much, sir. Hope you, Holly, and the dogs are all doing well. All right, let's get to it, get started. Man, it seems like I've talked about this trade for months, and I have, because I've been in this trade for months. Gary and I have been in this trade for months on the weekly, the return to value, sideways motion, V2, false breakout to the downside, under the 50 SMA, over the 50 SMA, bought at 43.96, came up to the 50 RSI, rejected it. I sold half here at about 45.67, something like that. Kept the other half, luckily, because we had another leg up. It is to my 1.5 ATR trailing stop level, so if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will get out of another half of what I have. It's up 2.57% this week. And from entry to current price, it's up 16.9%. So really good trade there. APPN. All right, we have David, Lilia, Jonathan, and myself. We did buy APPN back here with the under 30, over 30 deep dip buy signal at 83.84. It's currently 87.46. It's up 1.91% and up 4.38% on the trade so far, so that's a good one. Dash is having a big day, up 6.23%. I did buy this on the weekly along with Tracy and Paxton and Jonathan. Bought this with this false breakout to the downside and the V1. I didn't buy it here. I waited it to see if it would backfill and if it would test the -1 ATR channel, and it did. I bought it at 137.48 and it is up 9.49% this week, and that's exactly how much up on the trade. So very grateful for that. ISRG. Lilia and myself did buy ISRG with the 520 crossover at 843.75. It's 841.37, so it's up on the day, but it's still slightly down on the trade, but it is well off of its lows and created a V1, so that's promising for the trade. But this one, like I say, up on the day, just a smidge down on the trade. MSTR, Gary, Tracy, Lilia, and myself did buy MicroStrategies, which is essentially a Bitcoin proxy, with this deep dip buy of an under 30, over 30, under the 200, over the 200, bought at 454.92. Has moved up nicely. It's up 2.67% on this particular trade, and so far this trade is up 8%. Did hit one profit target a little higher today at 501.31. Orange line here is my 1.5 ATR trailing stop level. Not quite there yet. PKI. Bought PKI on the weekly. I can't remember now. I accidentally erased this. I had to put it back together. Is this Lilia or is this David? I think it's Lilia. Bought this at 140.80. It's currently 145.28. It's up 0.35% on the week, and on the trade, it is up 2.97%. So pretty good there. Roku down on the day. Paxton and I bought Roku with the 520 crossover at 347.48. It's 346.72. It's down $2.27 today, down 0.68%. So it's down on the day, and it's slightly underwater on the trade. SPY had a beautiful overnight SPY trade again. Bought this at 418.86. Sold it at 420.16. So I bought it at 418.86, sold it at 420.16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, the overnight SPY trade has delivered. I'll buy that again at the close, sell it tomorrow morning. Teradyne. Jonathan, Gary, David, Paxton, and myself did buy Teradyne with a 520 crossover, 127.70. It's currently 130.19. It's up 0.88% on the day, and it is up 1.97% on the trade. Got really close to the profit target, didn't quite get there. UNG monthly trade. I bought UNG with a higher low V2 along with David, Paxton, and Tracy. Bought it at 10.52. It's 10.42, so it is down 10 cents on the trade, and it is down 0.8. Sorry, it's down. Yeah, down 10 cents on the trade, which is equivalent to down 0.86% on the trade in general. And then Twitter has been a really nice trade for all of us. Miko, Gary, David, Tracy, Paxton, and Kamal and I did buy Twitter back here with the close under, close back over the 200 at 52.58. It's moved up, took some profits, moved up, took some profits, moved up, took some profits, hit profit targets again yesterday. Is up slightly today, up about 0.25%, but on the trade, this is up 9.23%. So this has been really good. We've got to our 1.5 ATR trailing stop level, which means if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will lock in half profits. But nothing, I don't need to do anything here because it hasn't closed below. So hopefully we'll just keep going on up. I don't know. We're having some difficulties with the low, with the high of the low of the gap up day, which is over here. See, we gap down. And so that horizontal line, we are above it slightly, which is a good sign. But I mean, it's had a big move, and this has been a great trade. VIX. I was bottom fishing with VIX today for a long time, and it never quite worked out. I did buy VIX here with the false breakout to the downside and the V2. I bought it here at 34.58. Initially went up, then we lost the 30 RSI. So this was a losing trade from 34.58 down to 34.45. So I lost 13 cents on this trade. And then we had an under 30, over 30. I bought here as a backfilled. I didn't want to chase it there. I bought it here backfilled at 34.05. Initially went up, moved 1.5 ATRs from my entry, and then came back down to my entry, making this a complete 100% just break-even trade. And then 10 minutes later, boom. You know, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. I got out. I followed my rules. You know, had I broke the rules, I would have had a big monster move up on this, but it's okay. I'm glad I did not break my rules. And let's head over to your trades and take a look. Steve bought GNRC at 320.13. It's currently 325.55. So nice start on that trade for Steve with the 520 crossover, up 1.71% on the day and up 1.71% on the trade. Fiverr. Steve bought Fiverr yesterday with the 520 crossover at 195. It's 199.37. It's up 3.52% today. So that is looking very good. TQQQ. Steve, Gary, Frank bought TQQQ, which is triple leverage Q, NASDAQ 100, with a 520 crossover. Bought it at 101.60. It's 101.70. So it is down on the day, but it is up about 10% on the trade. Here we go, Steve. The regular Qs with the 520 crossover bought at 332.78. It's 332.94. It's down a little on the day, but still slightly up on the trade. Beyond Meat. Can we give a hand to Gary? What a beautiful trade for Gary. Gary bought Beyond Meat with an under 30, over 30 at 107.52, and it is now 142.47. It's up 12.41% just today. And Gary, on this particular trade, has made almost 25% in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It's 5% a day, everybody. Everybody okay with doing that? Adobe. All right, Steve bought Adobe with the 1050 EMA crossover. Bought it here at 498.29. It's currently 499.27. It is down 1.52% today, but slightly still positive on the trade. DT, Tracy and Paxton. Beautiful trade on DT with a under 200, over 200, came back, retested, held the 200, 44.50. It's 51.42. It's down 0.71% today, but they're up 13.5%, 13.5% on the trade. So congratulations. PCAR. Oh, I'm glad to see this up finally for David. David bought this on the weekly bars, false breakout to the downside, V2, bought it at 94.51, did get a little dividend of 34 cents, so that helps. Stop is going to be halfway of the washout bar, at least that's how I would do it, so David's going to have to see what happens at the end of the week. It's holding right where it should, so he'll have to see what happens tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow, thanks to Gary for reminding me, tomorrow there's only a half day of trading, so I will be starting at 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and finishing at noon instead of finishing at 2. So it's 2 hours shortened session. So if you come here the regular time, we will be done. So it's 2 hours earlier, depending on where you're at. It's the podcast is going to start 2 hours earlier to get ready for the long holiday weekend. All right, IWB. Steve bought IWB yesterday with the 530 EMA crossover. It's at 236.40. It's 237.07. It is up 0.33% on the day and on the trade. Uber, Gary, Tracy, and Paxton all bought Uber. Gary bought it at 48.20. Tracy and Paxton bought it at 47.40. It's currently 51.17. It's up on just split the difference here, about 6.7% on that trade. So very nice, everybody. NVIDIA, Steve and Steve sold NVIDIA yesterday after earnings. I still have David in here. Don't know if he's in still, but at 677 cents, it's 621.30. It is down 1.06% today, but still nicely up on the trade. Airbnb, beautiful move for Kamal today. My gosh, under 30, over 30, 134.90. Look at this beautiful consolidation and just small bars. Remember, small bars, sideways bars lead to big moves, either up or down. But this is beautiful. Look at the volume today. I mean, this bar here shows that something has changed in this chart. Here, there was a lot of price discovery going on. People weren't sure. Today, investors made their move and voted that Airbnb was going up 6.14% on the day, and about that's what he's up on the trade. So congratulations, Kamal. Another beautiful trade from Kamal. Kamal almost bought the bottom here within a few cents at 221.10. It's currently 249.71, up 3.46% today, and up 11.47% on the trade. Way to go. Pins. Steve Burns did buy pins with the under 30, over 30, back up over the negative 30 ATR channel. 58.01. It's 64.02. It's up 1.72% just today, and it is up 9.14%. Wow, some of these moves have just been, percentage moves have just been amazing. Steve, another great trade. Bounce off the 200-day moving average. He bought it at 95.19. It's 99.69, up 1.29% on the day and up 4.49% on the trade. Nike. Steve bought Nike yesterday with the 1050 EMA crossover at 137.21. It's currently 137.18, so it is up on the day, but it's just slightly down on the trade. BILL, Paxton bought BILL with the 520 crossover yesterday at 149.50. It's currently 146.92. So this one is down 1.73% on the day, and this one is also down on the trade. Fastly, Lilia has had a great trade on Fastly with an under 30, over 30, bought at 43.70. It's 48.06. It's up 1.67% today and up 9.3% on the trade. Way to go, Lilia. Tesla down a little bit today. David bought Tesla with the bullish engulfing bar V1, bought it at 606. It's currently 618.18. It is down a little bit on the day, but nicely up on the trade. ELY down a little bit today. This is Frank. This is Callaway Golf. Frank bought this back here at 27.75. It's had just, I mean, look at this trade, everybody. I mean, is this an uptrend? I would say so. Sold half here, took a little profits there. But this trade up 25, over 25%. Wow, congratulations. And then lastly, Lilia bought ASML 520 crossover, bought it at 648.80, moved up beautifully. Lilia sold half yesterday, looks like with the close below the previous day's low. Is down a little bit on the day, but still beautifully up on the trade, about 2.17%. Woo! That was a lot of commentary, I must say. Lova says, now I see that there's no V1 on DBI. Somehow I mistook yesterday's green bar. No problem. David says, I am in PKI with you. Oh, that's okay. So it's David. All right. Let me put you up there. Okay. All right. I'm in good company then. Ava is here. Nice to see you, Ava. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. Thanks for coming. Lova says, Gary, exclamation point times 4 on the Beyond Meat trade. Dan says, standing ovation for Gary. I agree. I'm not standing up. I'm a little lazy right now, but I would if I had more gumption right now. And I'm stuck underneath the table, so I really can't. David says, I'm out of NVIDIA too. Okay, I thought you were, David. I thought you were. I think we just missed a day. So let's take NVIDIA off the board. Okay, Yuvar is here. Nice to see you, Yuvar. As always, my friend. Hope you're having a good evening or a good day wherever you are. Frank has a poem for us. This is awesome. Let me paste this over here. Okay, let's see what Frank has to say today. Trading is about winning more than you lose by deciding on the right stocks to choose. But no matter your option or the thoughts you pursue, it comes down to listening to the market and taking its cues. Well, that is 100% true, as usual with all of Frank's poems. That's so great. Trading is about winning more than you lose by deciding on the right stocks to choose. But no matter your opinion or the thoughts you pursue, it comes down to listening to the market and taking its clues. My gosh, Frank, we need to have that trading poem out. It's so good. All of these poems are just so good and so pertinent and so spot on. Yeah, trading is about winning more than you lose. Keeping your losses small, letting your winners run. No matter how strong your opinions are, what the market's going to do. You have to take your clues from what the market is doing. What a great poem. Thank you so much, Frank. Okay. Let me take a quick look here. Current positions. AGQ is fine. APPN is fine. DoorDash is great. Nothing I have to do there. ISRG. Ooh. Well, if it closes below the 5 and the 20, I would have to get out of half here. I don't know if it will close, but I will put a little reminder there for me that that is one that I'll have to watch at the end of the day. That's too bad. It was up earlier. MicroStrategies doing great, no change there. PKI doing great, no change there. Apple making a new low on the day. Glad I sold that yesterday. Roku, no change there. SPY, of course, buying that at the close. Teradyne, doing fine, no change there. UNG down today, but that's on the monthly. I wait to the end of the month to make my decision there. And Twitter hanging in there, 17 cents, so no change there. So all in all, pretty good day, all and all. Hey, let's go over here and talk a little bit about trader psychology. What do you think? Where did my thing go? Okay, here it is. All right, so listen, I have my favorite Twitter, I have my favorite Facebook channels, whose owners post great information about trader psychology every day. Why do you think so many people post information about trader psychology? Because it's that important. It's the most important skill that you're going to learn. That's why I like to cover these things. That's why I like to talk about these things. And, it's the same in life or in trading. You have to control your emotions, right? Bad things can happen. Holy hamburgers, you're never going to know, right? But this is from Sleek Options on Twitter, @Sleek Options. It's a great channel. Please go and support them. They have good information on options and good information on trader psychology. So let's see what they have to say. Having monthly or weekly profit goals may force you into trades that should not be taken. Let your process determine that. It never fails when I get a new student or people that know that I trade and they ask me about my trading. They say, well, what do you try to make each day, or what do you try to make each week, or what do you try to make each month? And my honest opinion is I have no idea. I don't have it in my head that I'm going to be able to make this or going to be able to make that. I don't even think that way, everybody. I don't know. I mean, if I could control things enough to where I could make this much per day or this much per week, oh my gosh, right? But some people think this way, and that's fine. I mean, I look at things more from like a yearly kind of return, my goal every year is somewhere between 12 and like 20% a year. So, I can look the long term. I can look at the long-term results and kind of gauge myself. But daily to weekly to monthly, I have no idea. And they're right. If you feel like you have profit goals, which I don't, right, it may force you into trades that you shouldn't take because maybe you haven't hit your profit goal yet for the week or for the month. But, just sit back. The analogy that Warren Buffett uses is there's no 3 strikes rule in the market. And people that understand baseball know what that means. You just can't sit there and wait for the perfect pitch, because if you do, 3 strikes and you're out. But as far as the market, you can sit there, you can wait for the perfect setup. And that's what you should do. And that's what Warren Buffett recommends. And I would say that what Warren Buffett says is probably a good idea. So, if you have weekly or monthly or daily or weekly or monthly goals, that's fine. You can have the goals, but make sure that those goals don't interfere with your proper trade selection. So thank you, Sleek Options. Appreciate that. That was helpful, a good reminder for me, and I hope it's a good reminder for everyone in the podcast today. Dan says, really amazing. You can create these Franks. Frank says, thank you, Dan. Dan says, Greg, just reminding you about your SPY trade order. Yeah, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I did put that in today. So that's just going to be on autopilot, buying that at the close. But thank you for reminding me about that. That's kind of you. Frank says, Gary, even the cattle were moved by that trade. That's great. That's great. Gary, even the cattle were moved by that trade. I kind of thought we might have a little quip coming from Frank about that. And I think I've got Frank calibrated in about when he's going to comment on something, because that's what I was expecting. That's what I got, and definitely impressed, as I knew I was going to be. That's great, Frank. All right, well, let's take a look, see what's going on for today. Let's look at Bitcoin. Let me show you a different Bitcoin chart. Here we go. This is the chart that I trade on Bitcoin, the perpetual futures over on Binance. So Bitcoin has been stuck in this purgatory area underneath the 200, but over the 250. Yesterday, we went up the 200, rejected it. There were not enough buyers to get us above the 200, and there were enough sellers to push us down below. So, if you trade Bitcoin, the way that I'm looking at Bitcoin right now is if I can get a nice, clean, strong break above the 200-day moving average and get that support below me, that's where I'll look to enter Bitcoin. Conversely, if we can go back down, get an intraday rejection of the 250 or a close under, close back over the 250. But I think I said the other day, I think Bitcoin is going to stay in this range, and that's exactly what it's doing. So if Bitcoin rejects the 250 down here, about 35,000, that's where I will want to get in again. I got in back here, right about that same location. Got out with the rejection of the 200-day moving average, but that 200-day moving average is pretty significant resistance above us. I'd like to see it move back above that if it goes higher. If it goes lower, I think there's some support here, 3 times. It has held support. It's respected the 250. So, like I just mentioned with Warren Buffett, if you're trading Bitcoin and you want a good area with a good risk to reward ratio, wait till it comes back down to about 35,000, or if it closes back above the 200-day moving average. So it has to go higher or lower in order for me to get interested. Netflix. Well, I was kind of interested in buying Netflix. I liked what's going on here. We've had a nice rally. We had a 520 crossover, but currently the 520 crossover was in place. It was valid, but now the 5 is 550 and we're 585. So this is not a valid signal anymore, and this is why I wait till the end of the day, of course, because I think it's the most valid price. One sec. Oh, crap. Okay. But if the 5 does close above the 20, I will buy it. I kind of like it right here. If we look at the weekly, here's the halfway of this big down bar, but it has 30 points to the upside in my opinion. But again, I won't take it unless we have the 520 crossover. But MACD is positive. We rejected the 50 RSI, but if the 5 does cross over the 20, it will be above the 50. So anyway, nothing right now on Netflix. That was actually my favorite one earlier in the day, but not anymore. GoDaddy. All right, well, GoDaddy has a lot of stuff going on here. It has a false breakout to the downside. It has a V1. It rejected the 250-day moving average. It rejected the -1 ATR channel. It's closed above the 200-day moving average. A lot of sideways motion here. Is this the day that moves us and makes us go higher? It's possible. We have a lot of volume on this day. Let's take a look over at the weekly and see. Weekly is definitely respecting the 50 SMA here, is above 50 RSI. So, it makes sense. This does make sense from a risk to reward. There's a lot of resistance here, but I do like the increased volume today. So right now I like GoDaddy way better than I like Netflix. Airbnb, Kamal, great trade today. Again, we had a move down. We finally found some buyers. We've moved sideways, sideways, sideways. Bars narrow, 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 narrow. Today it expanded with large volume. It looks pretty good. My only question is, do I want to chase a 6% move? On the weekly, we still have 6 points to 10 points above us before we run into significant resistance. But then again, how far do we have on the way down? And what is going to be your stop on this one? This one, we've got 7 points to the downside. I think I'm just going to let this one go, and I'm just going to root for Kamal and cheerlead for Kamal. I mean, we have a fractal with a high with two lower highs to the left, two lower highs to the right. There's a lot of good, clean things going on here. We have MACD that crossed over. This looks really good. I'm just having to decide if the risk to reward makes sense. This is the kind of chart where you could see some follow through. You could definitely see some follow through momentum to the upside. Yeah, this is a tough one for me. It's super easy for Kamal because he's in it and he's up nicely. But as far as initiating a new trade here, probably not for me, actually. Monster Energy has a 520 crossover. Oh, this is great. Now I'm going to have to get Monster Energy and MicroStrategies confused. Does have a 520 crossover, 93.01 to 92.97. This is a valid crossover. The 520 is a valid crossover. MACD is positive. Let's go over on the weekly. I think I'm going to pass because of the big down bar on the weekly, and we pretty much tested almost to the penny the halfway of the down bar move. Maybe it went up a few more pennies, but it has tested it and rejected it. So that one I'm going to bypass. DocuSign, Johan pointed this out to me. This is a higher low V1. MACD is positive, but did we reject the 50 SMA RSI already? Not quite, but pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. We have earnings coming up on the 2nd. Let's see, the 2nd is Tuesday, so this would only be a 1 day hold because of the holiday on Monday. By the way, we have a holiday on Monday. The market is closed, so keep that in mind. No, I think I'm gonna skip DocuSign. So Netflix is, it's possible. GoDaddy's possible. Airbnb, I'm just going to take off, so I'm not tempted. Monster, taking off, not tempted. DocuSign, taking off, not tempted. What else do we have? We have Fiverr here. I was going to buy Fiverr yesterday if it closed over the 200, but it lost it right at the 50. I think I'm going to pass on this. Plus, there's only 149,000 shares traded. TMO. False breakout to the downside and a V2, close above the 200. MACD's positive. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly has the 20 above. It's above 50 RSI. I think I like GoDaddy better. Zen, higher low V1, but it did reject the 50 RSI already, so I'm going to pass on that. WBA. Well, I didn't find a day trade on this today, but you see the big down bar we have. As soon as we got to halfway of the big down bar, we rallied to halfway. That's usually when I would go in on an intraday and look for a short, because the bigger time frame, there's really nothing here though, but the bigger time frame, we have a big down bar, we've rallied halfway. That's when I'd switch to the shorter time frame and look for a day trade short to the downside, but again, I didn't see any. OXCD is orthoclinical diagnostic. Nice little V1 yesterday that took off beautifully today, but I don't think I would chase it here. CLNE, just moving sideways, respecting the 200-day, but also getting stuck up here at about 815, 8.11 share, $8.11 stock. A little underpriced for me. Wing, holding the 200-day moving average, which is good, but only 127,000 shares traded. HEI, Heiko Corporation, 520 crossover, pretty strong, only 149,000 shares traded, and I don't know if the 520 crossover is valid. CRTO, don't really see anything there. DKNG, is DKNG back in play? Wow. I can't remember. Kamal, I'm sure, would know this if the 520 crossover is valid on DraftKings, but it's not there yet, so nothing for me there. And RGEN, nothing quite there. I'd want to get above the 200-day moving average. So it comes down to Netflix, 575 compared to 592, so it's not quite there. GoDaddy, big strong day today for sure. False breakout to the downside, V1, rejection of the 250, close back over the 200-day moving average. Weekly's above 50. This stock for me, everyone, is kind of like Amgen. Like I've not had really good results trading GoDaddy. So just with that, I'm just going to go with Netflix if and only if it has a 520 crossover. Otherwise, I just won't do anything. Unless I have to look at ISRG. That looks fine. DoorDash looks great. I think everything looks good. Everything looks fine. I'm going to look at Netflix only. And if we get the 520 crossover, which we definitely could do, then I will buy it. Other than that, I probably won't buy anything today. Okay, so Steve exited Adobe for a flat trade up 0.04% after the loss of yesterday's low. Okay. Alrighty, Steve, good trade. Take Adobe off the board. Johan wants to look at IRBT. Triggered a fractal. Close under, over the 200-day moving average. I mean, that's legitimate. That's a clean break above. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly held support at the 50-week moving average. I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good, Johan. Gary says, Greg, what about half position in Airbnb and if it backfills? Yeah, that's a good idea as well. What Gary's asking is, would it be a decent idea to take a half position if we get more follow through tomorrow? And we very likely could. There's no doubt about it. And the nice thing about taking a half position with that mindset is that, okay, I take a half position. You almost don't care if it goes up or down, because if it goes up, you've made money. If it goes down, then you can add your second half. I mean, this to me looks extremely strong. I could be wrong, but it looks extremely strong, but it also looks a little overbought. So I think that's an excellent idea, Gary. Take a half position here. If it comes back and backfills, then you can add your second half. You can reduce your cost basis in the stock, and I think you can feel pretty comfortable that it held here and exploded out of here. I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, as Kamal said, this does look good today. It really does look good. The only question is, do I want to chase a 5.83% move already? And probably a good solution to that is what Gary just said. Boy, VIX. Look at VIX, everybody. Wow. I mean, talk about a massive sell-off, down another 4 point. Let's see. 34.22 divided by 4. We're down to a cost-adjusted basis of $8.55 on the VIX. Remember how the VIX always held about 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we are down to 8.5. That is insane. That's insanely low. Let's take a look over at the put-call ratio. Oh, it went up a little yesterday. Well, it's down again today. So we are getting down in this location whenever put prices get so cheap that they get down here. That's historically kind of a top for the market. Doesn't mean it has to be this time, but something to consider, right? This is an indicator to look at, to consider. This was yesterday's price. We are definitely lower than that now. I'll bet you we're down into the 75 range. Could go lower, got down to the 66 range. You never know, but I think just instinctively we know that it's fairly, if we look at VIX, we know that it's pretty oversold. But it could get more oversold. That's why I was trying to catch the bottom on it today. Just wasn't able to do it. All right, so Netflix is what I'm looking at. It's very close. It's 592 compared to 598, so I'll just have to watch that. It is up today as well, while the NASDAQ is slightly up, but it's up way more. Well, it's up more percentage-wise, but that would make sense just with the beta of the stock. But it has a V1 too. But it did reject the 50. So come on there. Not from Netflix. I'd like to buy you. I would like to buy you. Just get on up there. It's 98.99 now. So very, very close. Well, I'm glad I sold Apple yesterday. We can see on Apple that it's definitely had a hard time with this 50 SMA. I mean, we're down $1.30 now. So far that was a good move. I'd look to buy Apple again if we could reject the 200-day. That's for sure. All right, I think we have a trade on Netflix. Yes, we do. Wow. Closing in 5 minutes. And remember, everybody, tomorrow the market closes 2 hours earlier. So the podcast will be 2 hours earlier than normal. Usually it's at 1 o'clock Mountain. I'll be doing it at 11 o'clock Mountain from 11 to 12. And then again, remember, Monday the market is closed. So it looks like Netflix does have the crossover, so I will be buying Netflix today. Maybe. Still hanging with the crossover. Airbnb strong into the close. Very nice. What do we have? 3 minutes to go. Let me put Airbnb over there so I can watch it. Yeah, it's strong. There is no doubt about that. That's a beautiful kind of setup, but I just don't know if it's a little overbought at this point. I think the halfway is definitely the right move. All right, few minutes to go. I am going to buy Netflix. With the V1, the false breakout, the downside, and the 520 crossover. So I always talk about confluence or combination of indicators, and this is what I'm looking for. Just going to wait it out here till the end. Roku coming back nicely. ISRG down, but still holding the 5 and the 20. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the buy button on Netflix. So I'll be buying Netflix today, or I just bought Netflix today, and then I'll be buying the S&P, the overnight SPY trade as well at the close with the market on close order. Roku possibly going positive. That would be excellent. All right, Netflix in the money already. Good, good. All right, there we go. That is the close of the day. Let's see, I bought SPY at 419.29, and I bought Netflix at 504.13. All right, so Netflix over here, 504.13. It was positive, now it's negative. That was rude. All right, 504.13. Oh, there's a kitty cat out there. Kitty, kitty, poos, poos, poos. How you doing? All right. Oh, that's me. I don't have to put me on there. And then a SPY. 419.29. Bam. Sweet. Sweet. All right. There we go. So listen, if any of my students have any new updates for me on their positions they'd like me to update on the board, any new additions or subtractions, please go ahead, put it in the live stream. I'll get them all updated. As per usual, I just have 3 items to go over before we get to that. First, I just want to remind everybody that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I teach a really good course, total of 15 hours, 5 sessions, 3 hours each session. That gives you your 15 hours total. And in that course, I teach you everything I know about trading. Essentially, I teach you all 5 of the setups that I use in my trading. Different setups, different strategies that allow you to trade different type of markets, whether you're going sideways, up, down. I wanted to have enough tools in my tool belt so that I could trade regardless of what the markets are doing. So it's a great course. It's one-on-one. I think it's the best way to learn any skill, and trading is certainly a skill. And I put a lot into the lessons. I burn a lot of calories. It's very important to me that my students succeed in trading. 1, because I care about them. 2, it's good for my brand. And so if you are interested, the cost is $1,750. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but for the attention, the one-on-one attention that you get, and all the information and all the strategies and all my experience that I've had over the last 25 years, it's well worth it. And I think it's worth every single penny. So if you're interested, send me an email. The email is in the description of this video. If you do, just say, Greg, hey, I'm possibly interested in taking your one-on-one course. I'll write back, say, great, let's do a Skype call. Skype call is free. It's just for me to learn more about you and your trading and where you're at with trading and what your goals are and what your challenges are. And then it's also a good time for you to ask me any specific questions about the course. And then after we're done with our call, you can think about it as long as you want to. And if one day you say, I really do want to learn to trade better, then just email me back, say, Greg, I'm ready. Let's get started, and we'll get it scheduled. Number 2, I do have a new online course, a new online video course on udemy.com, where I teach step-by-step the entire deep bit buy stock trading strategy that I use. It's a great strategy. It's very inexpensive. It's like $12 or $15 on udemy.com. It's the best $12 or $15 you'll ever spend. I've gotten so many good reviews, so much good feedback, emails saying, oh my gosh, this is such a great course. I can't believe it. It's only this much. It's 9.5 hours of total video. It's 26 videos. It's 15 study guides that I've created for you. And do yourself a favor. The link to the udemy.com online course that I have is in the description. Click on that link, buy it, take the long weekend, watch the course. You're going to be a better trader. And I'm here for you every day at the last hour of the day. If you have any questions while you're watching the course, just ask me. Very, very happy to help you with it or answer any questions that you have. And then lastly, if you like today's podcast, I would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It really does help to build the channel, helps to keep the channel around, lets YouTube know there's some valuable content. So they'll get out and share it more as well, which will help other people. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that need to learn some basics of trading. And I know if I could get them here, it would definitely help them for sure. So you can help me help them by hitting the thumbs up button. You know, if you liked the podcast today or in the last week, or if you found something helpful, that's all I ask, is that you could just spend a couple seconds to hit the thumbs up button before you boogie on out of here with your weekend. All right, so let's take a look here. So Steve exited Adobe. I think I already did that. Steve belongs to Angie. All right. Angie's List. ANGI. All right, let's see what Steve did here. 520 crossover. Last time that worked out really well. You remember that, Steve? That was an excellent trade on Angie with the 520 crossover, thanks to Lova, which helped everyone and pointed that one out. So that's Steve with the 520 EMA cross. Done and done. Tracy said we sold half of DT and exited Uber. Oh, you did? Okay. Glad to see you making some moves on that. All right, so Tracy and Paxton sold Uber. Okay. And sold half of DT. I think that's an excellent idea. You've had a big move on here. I mean, you know, the old saying, what is the old saying? Now I forgot the old saying about pigs go to slaughter, right? So sold half there. Wow, I had a saying and I couldn't even remember it. That's all right. Nice. I think that's an excellent idea. You've had a brilliant move on that. You know, why gild the lily on that? Take it off. Now all the emotions are off, and you can let that baby run if it does, and I hope it does. All right. So Gary went with the half A, B, and B. I think that's a good idea. Gary with the 1/2 initial position. So I hope that moves up for both of you. $10.4. Gary got out of TQQ at break even. You know what I say, if you can get out of a break even trade, to me that's the highest form of compliment from me, because getting out of a trade at break even is hard to do. So, you know, you had some profits in it, you've given it back. My hat's off to you, Gary. Johan, A, B, and B. Okay. All right. $10.4. And Netflix. Frank, TQQQ break even. I'm also holding a discretionary trade in CPRI. So let's take you out of this first. Boy, we've got some positions up on the board here, everybody. We know what that means, right? Usually when this position board fills up, I'm not trying to be negative, but usually when this position board fills up, we're generally near a high. I'm not trying to get anybody off their game or anything. It's just an observation. It's the Gossett Trading and Mentoring position board indicator. I'm sure you have noticed it as well. And when the position board gets low, that's usually near a bottom, which is exactly what happened. Okay. CPRI, discretionary trade, 52. Oh, so that must have been yesterday. I like the V1 to the downside that reversed back up. That's always pretty sweet. $52. Nice trade on that. All right, let's put Frank's name on it so that it is officially his trade. Once I write your name on here, it is your trade. Okay. And Jonathan is in a half A, B, and B. I'm getting lost in the woods here. Okay. And also Netflix. We'll see what happens with Netflix, obviously. Okay. Paxton says, the saying is a close below the previous day's low after hitting our trailing stop. Thanks, Greg. You're a great mentor and great friend. Thank you, Packy. Thank you. I appreciate that. The saying is a close below the previous day's low after hitting our trailing stop of 1.5 ATRs. You are correct. That is the procedure that I use. Lova says, DT bounced right at the 50 SMA and closed above yesterday's low. Are there other things that is about its rapid rise that would suggest you to sell? Dynatrace, huh? Are there other things about its rapid rise that would suggest to sell? Well, it didn't close below the previous day's low. So technically, Tracy and Paxton, yeah, it hit your 1.5 ATR trailing stop, but it did not close below the previous day's low. So technically, there's not a technical sell level there, but is it enough to take half off with that great trade? I think so. But, technically speaking, if we got to close below the previous day's low or we got to close below the 5 EMA, that would probably be letting the market take you out it. But I have no problem with the two of you taking half of the profits off there. Ava says, TMO had very strong close. Yes, it did. We'll watch tomorrow. Yeah. It triggered a fractal today. V2, close over 200-day moving average. Did it have a 520 crossover? Yes, it did. Weekly, looks good. It looks good. I mean, if there's any weakness on TMO tomorrow, I would probably buy it. If we came back, similar with Airbnb, if we came back and got a better risk to reward ratio, I mean, it's not a great risk to reward ratio. MACD went positive. You're relying on momentum here on this stock now. Will you have it? I don't know. I would feel better though if we had a bit of a backfill back to the 200 and increase your risk to reward ratio. So tough. It's tough on these, Ava. Frank says, I do have a parachute on given the board is full. Oh, you do? What's your parachute? Did you buy some puts? Okay. Listen, we do this every day. If we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. By Martin Kornfeld. It's true, everyone. If we just do one random act of kindness daily to another human being, and ideally to an animal as well, we'd make the world a better place. Is the world a great place? I guess it's pretty good. Could it be better? Sure. And if we just did one nice thing for another human being each day, give them a little advice, help them at the store, hold the door open for them, give them a bite of your Snicker bar, I don't know, something, right? Doesn't have to be anything specific. They'll be happy, you'll be happy. It's a win-win situation all the way around, and I just like to share that every day. Paxton says, hey, I'm new, but I like 15%. That's a great trade, man. Nothing wrong with that. Recently I've spoke to some people that have talked about easy moves, like easy 30% moves. And I'm like, I don't understand what planet. I mean, there are easy 15%, or I shouldn't say easy. There are 15% moves. There are 30% moves. Paxton proved it. Gary proved it on Beyond Meat, but people, they don't happen very often. They are not the norm. So let's try not to get into that mindset of easy moves. There is nothing easy about trading. It is a grind. It takes skill. It takes patience. It takes emotional control. It takes having the mental fortitude to withstand drawdowns. Don't get cocky. Seriously, everybody, don't get cocky when you're having a nice up move, because you know things are going to turn back around at some point, right? So, be humble, be grateful for when you have a nice trade, but I can tell you from experience, you get ego involved, you get cockiness involved, that's when it hits the fan. So be grateful for your moves, but just don't think they're going to be regular. All right. I just kind of feel moved to tell you that today. Frank says, does not giving stock tips count as random act of kindness? Yeah, I think so, as long as they're good, valid stock tips. And I guess since we're on the subject of stock tips are generally do not work out, everybody. If someone asks you, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, but if someone says, oh, you should buy XYZ stock, if that's all they tell you, bad advice in general. More times than not, it's bad advice. If somebody tells you about buying a stock, trip them out a little bit and go, oh, okay, well, how many shares should I buy, based upon current volatility? Where should my end of day stop be? Where should my emergency stop be? Where are my overhead resistance levels? What would you suggest as a trailing stop level? And if they can give you all those answers, okay, you might want to listen to them. But most people will go, what? No, just buy it, right? Don't get caught into that. Lova says, the board indicator is a real thing caused by Gregorians letting winners run and dumping losers quick. That's true. When the market crashes, we will have a bunch of winners that we haven't sold before then. That's right. And Lova, check your email. I sent you an email today. If you could reply to me, that would be great. Okay, bud? All right, everybody. Again, tomorrow the market closes 2 hours earlier. So please be prepared for that. If you want to join the podcast tomorrow, it will be 2 hours earlier than the normal time, as the market closes 2 hours earlier. All right. So thank you for coming today. I really appreciate it. It's good to see everyone. It's a beautiful day out there here in Utah. So I'm going to go for a nice hike. I'm teaching tonight. So I've got a lot more hot stock talk for the rest of the day. Dan said, would you mind having a look at VXF and SPY on the weekly? Okay. VXF Vanguard on the weekly, and tomorrow will be weekly trade day, by the way, as well. I don't see anything that really sticks out to me here. I mean, we could definitely come back up here and test the 1 ATR channel, but I don't see that. It looks like there's a 510 crossover, which usually does not really hold anything, but we have the high over here on the weekly with high MACD bars. We've pulled back to red. If we make it up higher, I don't think we're going to have any green. So it looks like we'll have a double top with the bearish divergence, which seems bearish to me anyway, but I don't see anything on that. And then on the SPY, well, we have a high, we have a pullback, we make a higher high, little bit lower greens here. It's hard to say. I mean, we could come back up here and test this third ATR channel again, but I don't think I'd be buying up here for any weekly trades, that's for sure. So that's my take, Dan. Hope that helps, bud. All right, I've got to get out of here, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Hopefully see you tomorrow. If you can remember to hit the thumbs up button, I would really appreciate that. But have a good rest of your day, okay? Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.